It's an endless stream of bad news for Ferrari. The brains behind the vehicle concept, David Sanchez, has suddenly bid adieu. And to add salt to the wounds, it's not just Binotto that they've lost, but now Sanchez too. These two masterminds departing in such quick succession spells doom for Ferrari. Sanchez, the architect of the masterful car, bidding farewell at the start of the season is nothing short of a nightmare for Ferrari. Sanchez has been the design and development guru of Ferrari's F1 cars for the past couple of seasons, and he's been a Maranello loyalist for over a decade now. This guy initially traded in his McLaren jersey for a Ferrari one back in 2012. As a chief aerodynamicist, he then took over from Dirk de Beer as the top dog in the aerodynamics department in 2016. But that wasn't enough for this high-flying Frenchman. He got a promotion to chief engineer and the head of the vehicle concept in 2019. Making him the ultimate mastermind behind the prancing horse's speed machines. Sanchez had his fingers all over Ferrari's last two F1 cars, the F175 and the SF23. This guy was a Robin to Binotto's Batman and played a pivotal role in getting Ferrari back on track in 2017. He and Simone Resta managed to turn the SF70H into a real winner. But wait, hold your horses. His departure couldn't have come at a worse time. Ferrari's already grappling with the challenge of chasing down Red Bull after the Bahrain Grand Prix, and now they've got to deal with this too. With other teams' senior figures likely to be twiddling their thumbs during a long period of gardening leave, Ferrari will have to reshuffle their internal staff to make up for his sudden departure. And as for Sanchez, he'll probably have to do some gardening of his own before he can hit the ground running somewhere else. Looks like his next destination is still up in the air. Oh boy, this is quite the shake-up for Ferrari. Just as their team principal, Fred Vasseur, is laying down the law and demanding that every department at Maranello up their game, they lose one of their key players. Vasseur didn't mince his words either. He made it crystal clear that nobody was safe from his demand for improvement. Every single area of every single team has to improve, he said, his eyes probably shooting laser beams of determination. He's all about the DNA of the business, and that means everyone, from the race engineer to the guy on the production line, has to bring their A-game. And get this, if that production guy can shave a few seconds off the assembly line or make things a bit lighter or cheaper, it'll help support the development of the car. Vasseur's all about pushing for progress, and the timing of Sanchez's exit certainly adds to the challenge. It was a tough weekend for Ferrari at the Bahrain GP. Red Bull had them beat, and even Aston Martin managed to outdo them. Yikes. But don't you worry, team principal Fred Vasseur has got this. After Charles Leclerc's disappointing DNF, Vasseur promised a deep dive into what went wrong. It's never good to start with a DNF, and I would have preferred to finish for sure, he said, probably gritting his teeth in frustration. But hey, he's consistent in his position, and he's not giving up hope just yet. He told his team before the Bahrain test that the championship wouldn't be decided there, and that's still true now. What's important is that they get a clear picture of what's going wrong and conduct a proper analysis. Vasseur's all about stronger response, so you can bet he's going to be pushing his team to their limits to turn things around. Max Verstappen's qualifying performance was nothing short of spectacular, leaving everyone else in the dust on the Bahrain International Circuit. However, if you take a closer look at the data, it tells a different story. Charles Leclerc was actually faster over more parts of the lap, but Verstappen managed to make up for it in crucial areas of the track. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Aston Martin. Sure, some people are calling it a Red Bull copycat, with Sergio Perez even joking about having 3 Red Bulls on the podium. But the truth is, the SF23 actually takes after last year's RB18 in some ways, so it's not all about copying and pasting, folks. In the world of F1, it's all about finding that competitive edge, and in the case of Red Bull, it seems to have been all about shedding the pounds. With the RB19 running overweight last season, the team dedicated much of their off-season to slimming down and getting close to the weight limit. In contrast, Ferrari opted to focus on engine power and reliability during the winter break. resulting in a car that was closer to their weight targets in 2022. And the data seems to back this up, as Charles Leclerc's flying lap in Q3 was superior on all the main straights around the Bahrain International Circuit, reaching a top speed of 298 km per hour in the speed trap compared to Max Verstappen's 295 km per hour. It's a game of millimeters and milliseconds in F1, and every team is constantly searching for that elusive advantage. In this case, it seems that Red Bull's focus on weight loss may have come at the cost of some straight-line speed, while Ferrari's emphasis on engine performance paid off in the top end. It's fascinating to look at the detailed data from the Bahrain GP qualifying session and see where the two top teams, Red Bull and Ferrari, excel. Last season, the RB18 was known for its ability to make up ground on the straights, but this year, it's the RB19's downforce that sets it apart from the SF23. Verstappen gains a significant advantage over Leclerc through the high-speed corners of Turn 7 and Turn 12, thanks to the RB19's superior downforce. Meanwhile, Leclerc's Ferrari is faster down the straight into Turn 11, where it reaches a top speed of 298 km per hour compared to Verstappen's 295 km per hour. Interestingly, the SF23's low drag setup and superior acceleration into Turn 14 allow Leclerc to quickly catch up to Verstappen after the Dutch driver's short-lived advantage at Turn 13. Even though Verstappen has a 6 km per hour edge in acceleration onto the start-finish straight, Leclerc manages to go quicker just before the final timing line. It's a game of cat and mouse, with each team exploiting their strengths and trying to overcome their weaknesses to gain an advantage on the track. But where does Alonso come in? Yes, he was only 6/10 off Verstappen's time, but that doesn't tell the whole story. In fact, our analysis revealed that Alonso was actually braking later than Verstappen heading into Turn 1, while also showing better grip through Turn 8 and Turn 11. Sure, the RB19 was faster on the straights, but those areas where Alonso was able to gain traction on the tough, abrasive Bahrain surface meant he had better acceleration than Verstappen. But unfortunately for the two-time world champion, that advantage was short-lived once the Red Bull got up to speed. However, this grip advantage translated to the race, where the AMR23 was kinder on its tyres than the SF23. This allowed Alonso to overtake his fellow countryman Carlos Sainz in the latter stages of the race. Now, it's worth noting that our analysis on Friday showed that Aston Martin was about 3/10 slower than Red Bull in terms of race pace, so catching up with them was pretty much out of the question. But here's the thing, with their superior straight-line speed, it should be easier for Ferrari to outclass Aston Martin. After all, Bahrain is known to be the toughest race of the year on tyres, which prompted Leclerc to save a set of softs by not running twice in Q3 due to the degradation. This is a trait that SF23 has carried over from its predecessor, which could prove to be advantageous for the Scuderia. And Mercedes' struggles continue to mount. Despite their impeccable reputation, a closer look at the lap times shows that they were only superior in one key area: braking. Hamilton and Russell might have been able to carry more speed into the crucial braking zones, but that's where their advantage ends. The W14's drag is a serious issue that hurts their pace on the long straights and high-speed corners. As a result, Mercedes were almost a full second behind Red Bull, and Aston Martin was clearly out of reach, experiencing similar tyre degradation issues as Ferrari. It's funny to think about how much was said about Aston Martin copying Mercedes last year, earning the nickname Pink Mercedes, but now the tables have turned. Team Silverstone seems to have outdone their former partner with their facilities and innovation. Maybe we'll see a black Aston Martin on the track soon. Who knows, anything is possible in the world of Formula One. Ferrari's got to get their act together pronto and hustle to rescue their season. Sure, it's only been one race, but they need to invest in the right fixes ASAP if they're going to make a comeback. Real talk, it seems like they're fighting for runner-up status at best. But hey, who knows what could happen? Hit that like button and subscribe for more hot takes.